drugs and alcohol have always been around, right? Or excuse me, drug and alcohol addiction, okay, and drug and alcohol problems have been around as long as there have been drugs and alcohol. You know what I'm saying? And whether you're rich or poor, there are plenty of people who are rich who have drug and alcohol problems, and yet they're not homeless. But they're just as big of degenerates as everybody else, right? But just because you don't see them, and because they have something you want, right? Because remember, you want money from them, right? That's why you treat them differently. That's why you don't treat them like filthy vagrants, right? You don't do that. It's why, it's one of the reasons why, like, I don't tell people that what my position in the company is, because I'm not doing manual labor, and I want to see. I'm curious how customers treat someone they think is just a manual labor guy. It tells me a lot about customers, depending on how I'm treated. So, and so yeah, this idea of that the people who have drug and alcohol problems have been around for a long time, but just people had dwellings in which to have their drug and alcohol problems because they could afford them, right? For example, I mean, and I used this example before, and this is, of course, you asked, like, why does I pick a conservative? Well, okay, let me fold that in for a second here, because this is connected. Like, oh, well, these people just need to clean themselves up, stop drinking, stop doing drugs, and they can clean themselves up, and then they can get jobs and be productive members of society. Okay, let's assume for just a second here that all of them did it. Let's call it, let's be generous and say it's only 4 million people. 4 million people. 4 million Americans clean themselves up. I wave a magic wand. They are all now clean, sober, and they're in nice clothing, and they're ready to rock and roll. They're ready to go to work. Where precisely would they go to work? That's the problem. Where exactly are they going to go work? And of course, if they go to work, how much money are they going to make? Are they going to make $3,500 a month? Excuse me. Are they going to make 3 times $3,500 a month in San Francisco to pay for their 1-bedroom shithole? Probably not. So you see the problem here? This is what happens when you inflate an economy. You create a bunch of delusional assholes that just say, no, work harder. There is no work harder. You understand? Hard work, by the way, I've defined this because, one of the fastest ways to usually get people to prove who they are is start getting them to define the words that come pouring out of their cunt mouths all the time. Get them to start defining their own fucking words, right? And usually it shuts people down because they don't have a definition. But I'll define it. I'll define hard work. Hard work just means verifiable. It means that it's something that is in fact verified. Kind of like hard currency. Hard currency is verifiable. For instance, if you send me Orange Internet money, I can verify it. If you're standing in front of me and you hand me a gold coin, and I do dig out the acid kit and everything, and I test it, and I find out there's enough displacement, it's 100% pure gold, etc. I can verify it. I can verify whether you finished roofing my house. I can verify if you put a sprinkler system in. I can verify if you showed up to work and you pumped X amount of oil out of the ground, for example. How do I verify you're working hard at the HR department of an insurance underwriting company somewhere, doing Zoom meetings here and there, and then going to the rooftop lounge, and then the puppy therapy room, and then the shoulder rub room, or if you work at Google or one of these other fake fucking internet companies, where you go to one of your catered lunches and shit. Like, how do I verify you're doing any fucking work? I'm not trying to be a dick about this, but I mean, dude. So whenever I hear someone say like hard work, I'm like, okay, and I like, you mean verifiable work, or do you just mean some other kind of job that pays more money? Because you sent all those. Boomers, bankers, brokers, boomers, billionaires, you guys have sent all those jobs over to other countries because you wanted cheaper labor, you wanted cheaper slaves. You didn't really give a shit about the long-term health of your country. Just like hiring a CEO to work at a company, like, he's gonna be the CEO. And what do most of these assholes do? They show up and they slash and burn. They get rid of the most expensive employees first, which are typically the most competent. And then the overall health of the company starts to suffer later on. Why? Because his incentive is stock price. He doesn't give a flying fuck about the long-term health of the company. He cares about next quarter. Sorry to hit you with both barrels on this one, but that's the fucking truth. Okay? So, no, I mean, when you if you're going to open that can of worms and you're going to talk about, homelessness or drug and alcohol addiction, like you better be able to come to the table with a much better fucking argument than what I've seen on any side, especially if you're going to talk to me about it. Because, like, dude, this isn't because I empathize or excuse me, this isn't because I sympathize with them. Okay, I empathize, but I don't sympathize. And it isn't because I'm just on their side and I want them to sit around and do nothing all day and be able to be addicts. No. But I'm asking of a practical solution here, right? Practical solution is not just shouting slogans at somebody like "Make America Great Again." That's shouting slogans at people isn't going to fucking solve anything. And by the way, while we're on that topic, "Make America Great Again" is not the same thing as "Make Americans Great Again." Hello, there's a big difference there. Big difference between those two statements. Make America great versus make Americans great. Whole different philosophy there. Because you can have, like, we're gonna make America great by just importing, I don't know, a whole bunch of slaves and then just, promising them a whole bunch of fake shit that you have no way to deliver on, just like you did with boomers. All right? And then they all go to collect on all those promises, and then you're just like, oh, well, hey, gosh, I mean, hey, if you were cool, you would just keep working until you drop dead. Don't ever take any money out of the stock market, though. Just keep that in there. I'm just telling you. I mean, I've been watching this shit, and yeah. So yeah, this homelessness idea and drug addiction thing, this is a chicken and egg thing. For some people, yeah, it causes all those problems. For other people, they've just kind of given up because they can't really participate in life anymore. They're not able to participate in life, and it's not because of lack of education. It's not. I mean, like, the world is full of educated derelicts right now. Oh my God, right? I mean, it's not to shamelessly rip off Calvin Coolidge on this one, but, like, I mean, the world is fucking full of educated derelicts right now. I mean, my God. So, yeah, I mean, that isn't the issue. This is, can anybody actually function in the world around them? Or did you pull the ladder up? Did you import a bunch of slave labor? And you don't, because you don't want to take the L, right? Because most of you, that's what's happened here. I'm talking to a lot of the conservatives out there too, right? Because in your mind, what your idea is that no, they can just keep paying ever escalating rents. In the meantime, you have wages that are flat, and the reason wages are flat is because you've imported a bunch of people into the fucking country. So much so that now, I mean, hey, look, I posted it, dude. There's fucking video of it, okay? For you fucking Trump people out there, like, no, Trump's going to deport all. He's already flipped on that. He's already said, well, yeah, probably not. We're gonna deport the bad guys, whatever the fuck that means, and we're gonna import even more people. So just when you thought your wages were going to be able to stabilize, or just when you thought wages were going to go up 4 or 5 times for younger people to be able to actually function in the country in which you live, you're going to get trumped again. I mean, fuck, man. I'm not trying to laugh at you. I'm just pointing out, like, think of this as a tough love speech, because a lot of you, like, you have not thought this shit through really at all. And I'm not criticizing, by the way, that question. I'm just saying, like, in general, there's a lot of people out there who haven't really thought this shit through at all.